All right, 7.2. So this is adding on to chapter 7. This is the second section. So we're going to talk about, still we're talking about angles. Now we're going to define what a transversal is. Transversal, quiet please. Thank you. A transversal is a line, okay, that intersects would you like to move on? That intersects two lines. And these are usually parallel. Very loud. Okay. Usually parallel. And parallel is one of my favorite words because the L's in parallel make parallel lines.
What if you don't write them correctly?
Okay. Transversal is a line that intersects parallel, well, usually they're parallel, but it's two lines. Okay. We're going to be talking about different angles that form after a transversal cuts those. Okay, so types of angles formed from a transversal. Okay, so we're going to have these two parallel lines. Okay, we're going to have a transversal come in and cut it. So another line that's going to come in and cut it. How we're going to represent these parallel lines is they're going to have an extra set of arrows on them. That indicates that they're parallel. That shows that they're parallel. It's just like a little right box, you know, shows a right angle. This shows that they're parallel. Otherwise, you can't assume they're parallel unless it shows it either in the directions or it shows those signs. Okay.
Like
in what?
And like the slope?
Like, yes, so like these would have the same slope. Is that what you're asking me? These would have the same slope, yep, because parallel lines would have congruent slopes. That's true. Same slopes, equal slopes. Okay, now we're going to talk about two angles in here. We're going to label this angle right here number 2, and we're going to label this one number 6. Okay, so we're labeling 2 and 6. Okay, because I'm going to talk about all different kinds of angles. So angle 2 and angle 6. These are on the same side of the transversal and they're in the same position. So this one's on the top of that parallel line and this one's on the top of the other parallel line. If they're on the same side of the transversal, so bloop, and they're in the same position, those are called corresponding angles. Corresponding angles. Okay, so remember their definition is same side of the transversal. And same position. What do you think about angle 2 and angle 6? They look what?
Same.
They look the same. So yeah, actually when you have parallel lines and you have a transversal that cuts it, they are congruent. Okay, so angle 2 is congruent. So remember, squiggle equal to angle 6. They're congruent. Okay. All right. So now we're going to talk about a different set of angles. We're going to have the same parallel lines, so we're going to keep it consistent. We're going to have that same transversal come in. And I write my double arrow so that it shows that it's parallel. This time we're going to talk about angle 4, which is right here. We're going to label that 4. And we're going to label this guy number 5. Okay. Well, are those two angles, are they on the same side of the transversal? No, they're not. They're on alternating sides. So this is called alternating. Okay, alternating. So on opposite sides of the transversal. Now, are they on the inside of those parallel lines or are they on the outside? Inside, right? They're on the inside. So this is alternating interior angles. Literally what it says. They're alternating. So they're on opposite side of the transversal. and on the inside. So alternating interior, so the opposite sides on the inside. Okay, so that's another type. So we have corresponding, we have alternating interior. Okay, let's take a look at another, the same set of parallel lines. Here's my transversal again. Now we're going to talk about angle. We're going to name this one 1 and this one way out here 8. Again, are they on the same side of that transversal? No, so if they're not on the same side, what are they?
Alternating.
Alternating, yep. And they are on the outside, very good. So alternating exterior angles. Oh, something I forgot to write on the last one. What do you think about angle 4 and angle 5?
Weird.
They look what?
They look the same.
They do look the same, so they are actually congruent. Angle 4 is congruent to angle 5.
A lot
You're so
of years of
smart.
practice.
So remember opposite side of transversal. So they're opposite sides of transversal, and on the outside. Okay. What do you think about 1 and 8?
They're the same.
Are they congruent? Yeah, they sure are. Angle 1 is congruent, so squiggle equals to angle 8. My squiggle got pen out of hand. I know, but it's pen. Really congruent, bolded it.
That's too scary.
Okay, so we got the corresponding angles, we got alternating interior, alternating exterior. Now let's talk about, again, we have these same parallel lines coming in, same transversal, cutting it. We're going to talk about the angles. We're going to talk about 3 and 5. I'm going to keep that consistent because we had 5 earlier. We're going to keep them in the same position. So we're going to talk about 3 and 5. Now, are they, that's a 5, not a 6, that's a 5. Okay. Are they on opposite sides of the transversal? No. Okay, so these are called consecutive. Okay, now here's the thing. When you use different books, sometimes different books have different names, right? Okay, so sometimes most of the time they'll be called consecutive interior angles. Sometimes you'll see same side. Now, I will probably use both terms interchangeably because I don't really think about it when I talk about it, because both mean the same thing to me. So consecutive or same side will both be the same thing, and they're interior angles. Yes, the other one's a bigger word than the other one. Yep. So remember, these are on the same side of transversal. And on the inside. Same side of the transversal and on the inside. Now consecutive, what does consecutive mean?
In a row.
In a row, in an order. So like consecutive numbers are like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, okay? So that's the same thing here. These angles are right next to each other. They're right next to each other in a row. So 3 and 5 consecutive, they're right next to each other and they're on the inside.
And they're congruent.
Just 3 and 5 look congruent. 3 looks like an acute angle. 5 looks like an obtuse angle. Do you think they're going to be congruent? No. But here's the cool part of consecutive interior angles. The measure of angle 3, remember when we put M in front of the angle side, that means measure, plus the measure of angle 5 is 180. And I'm going to show you why. So measure of angle 3 plus the measure of angle 5 is 180. Okay, you ready for this explanation? All right. Okay. 5 and 1. Remember this was angle number 1? They're what? Which one of these definitions? They're what? They're in the same side and they're in the same position. What's that called?
Consecutive.
Nope. Corresponding. Now, are corresponding angles congruent, yes or no?
Nope.
Yeah, right? So 5 and this one, number 1, would be the same. I'm gonna put a 1 there. 5 and 1 would be the same. Well, 1 and 3 together make a what? A line, right? They make a line. 1 and 3 together make a line. Agreed?
Yeah.
How many degrees in the line?
180.
180. Well, if this is the same number as this, you can substitute it in for each other. So they're supplementary. Yep.
Oh.
So 3 and 5 together make 180. So they're supplementary. They're not congruent. Okay, so your notes are done, but I'm going to ask you some questions. So get ready to answer them. Keep your notes handy because I'm going to ask you guys questions. So here's my line. Here's my transversal. I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So these ones are my parallel lines. There's my transversal. Here we go. What's that? Doesn't matter. Yep, good question. Those can be on either side. Yeah, okay, so what's going to happen is you're going to see sometimes that there's more than one set of these because it's going to show different sets of parallel lines. So like I could have another line here and that could be parallel to that one. You could have 2 sets of parallel lines and you could have 2 sets of parallel lines that aren't parallel to each other. So this could have 2 tick marks and this would have 3. You know what I mean? So you can see which one goes with which one. Good question. Good question. Okay. Okay, so you're on page 220, which is what is on there. 1 through 4, 6 through 19, 33 through 38. Okay, number 1. Number 1. Hunter says name a pair of corresponding angles. Give me a pair of corresponding angles, Hunter. What? Angles, like the numbers. Use the numbers, it's easier. Otherwise, we have to use 3 letters, and I don't want to. 3 and 2, do you think? Nope, I don't think so. Brayden, what do you think?
7 and 6.
7 and 6? Are those corresponding? Nope. Ryan?
4 and 2.
4 and 2 would work. What else would work?
1 and 3.
1 and 3 would work. Nope. 4 and 5 are alternating exterior. 5 and what? 5 and 6 would work. Good job. Okay, any